Welcome back to Brooklyn Electronics. I'm Lee, and as always, it's a real pleasure that you were able to take the time to join me today in this little adventure. What this is actually is the continuation, part 2, of my 500 subscriber special focused on my collection of Power Mac G5's. In part 1, we looked at the first 4. Today we're going to be looking at 2 more, both Power Mac G5 quads, the most powerful computer Apple ever released in the PowerPC era, supplanted after a year by the first of the Intel Mac Pros, the 2006 1,1 Mac Pro. This was a very powerful machine in its day, and still has got some power left in it today. It is very capable in a lot of ways. So we're going to start out with these 2 machines, looking at the inside of them, because there are some differences. Not Apple differences, but some differences that I find interesting, and I hope that you will too. So we'll get the side-by-side comparison. And then we're going to boot both of the machines up and see what they are capable of. If you're going to find this an interesting thing, I hope that you will please stay tuned. Alright, this is the most powerful PowerPC computer I own. It is a Power Mac G5 quad, of course. I have done as many upgrades on this machine as I can think of. RAM is down in this area. It does have 16 gigabytes. This is an NVIDIA Quadra, 512 megabytes of video RAM. It is, to my knowledge, the most powerful graphics card that can be put into one of these machines. We have also a FireWire 800 card, which is drawing Molex power. It's very difficult to see, but there's a splitter routed up through there and splitting off from the Molex power for the DVD drive, which is also upgraded. I'll get to that. That's running the Molex power down to the FireWire card. There's also an internal FireWire port, and I've got a FireWire cord. You're not going to be able to see it, but there is a FireWire connected drive attached to the very top of the case here, right above the DVD drive. It's not touching the DVD drive. There is air clearance in there for cooling. That's my Tiger drive. Now, it's the slowest drive I can get at on this machine, aside from trying to use USB 2, of course. But yeah, I never boot this into Tiger, but if I need to, it's there and it works fine. Now, again, you're not going to be able to see it, but above that FireWire drive is an eSATA card. And I have the backup drive, which is there. It's a 2 terabyte drive in an OWC enclosure. It's connected via eSATA, so it does backups very, very quickly. And I do have a couple of external eSATA drives. And I can use eSATA to connect quickly with all 3 of the most powerful G5's, the 2 quads and the dual 2.3. In the drive bays here, the top bay is a 1 terabyte SSD, which has Leopard, and in the bottom bay, we have a 1 terabyte SSD that carries an installation of Phoenix Linux. So this is a triple boot machine. It'll boot Tiger, Leopard, and Phoenix. All right. The graphics card does require power. There is one 6-pin connector. It's very awkward because of this long card bracket, and I've never seen a card long enough where that would actually come into place, but it's there, and since it's in place, getting that plugged in is difficult, but doable. I managed to do it. Okay, and I think that's about it for our look at this G5. And now we'll come over here, and here you may have I've been able to put it in an angle better. Oh, I was going to point out the optical drive here in this machine. This is the second PowerMac G5 quad. That's a DVD CD writer reader. The drive over here is a Blu-ray drive. So that's yet an extra one. Okay, now, same thing with the RAM there. I have upgraded this to 16 gigabytes. Now, it's a little easier to tell. I'm going to point out the one thing here first of all. Whoever had this machine before me, I don't know if it was the guy I bought it from or maybe a previous owner before that. There's a language barrier going on, so I don't really know. Oh, there's a bit of putty in there. I'd never noticed that before. Well, anyway, he's taken that long card bracket out, which does make it a lot easier if you were going to use the 6-pin. The 6-pin is right there. It's not being used. Now, there's a Molex splitter here. That was me. I ran Molex splitter up here so that we have Molex coming in here for a twin. I'm not using the external FireWire here. I suppose I could at some point in the future, but I'm not. But I am powering the FireWire 800 card. We do have an eSATA card here as well. And then can transfer files very, very easily. And, you know, a more basic kind of graphics card. Now, in the drive bays up here, we have a hard drive. That's got the Tiger installation on it. And an SSD, which has the Leopard installation. All right, but there's something else. Check this out. What the heck is this? Now, if you follow that cord up there, it goes up in there. Whoever was trying to do something with this has done something. If you're familiar with the Pixelus mod on a classic Mac Pro, it looks like he was trying to do something similar. You can kind of see it. There's that white tape in there. Drawing power from the Molex connector, and with that tape, I don't know what it is. Was he trying to power a more powerful graphics card? Or what? I really don't know. But it's kind of unique. I've never seen a late 2005 PowerMac with that bracket removed. I guess it was removed trying to make it a little easier to work on something. I really don't know. But anyhow, it's interesting. It's a puzzle. So we're now going to take a look at this machine, boot it up. Fairly quick look, I think, because this could be a lengthy video. And then we'll spend some more time with my real PowerMac Quad, the one that I use on a regular basis. Stay tuned. Well, this is the Leopard Desktop, of course, on my second PowerMac G5 Quad. It's got the same display situation. It's going to look very familiar. If you saw the first video in this two-part series, and I was explaining about the graphics and why I'm not at the full native resolution because of YouTube, everything's going to look familiar because this is a direct clone of the installation of Leopard on the dual 2.3 gigahertz machine. But just to show here about this Mac, this is a 4x 2.5 gigahertz PowerPC G5 with 16 gigs of RAM. And looking here in System Profiler, G5 Quad, and yeah, same thing. It says the number of CPUs, 4. There are 2 CPUs, each with dual core, but Leopard had not progressed to the point of truly understanding that. Graphics displays. It's another NVIDIA GeForce 6600. It's exactly the same card as in the dual 2.3 gigahertz machine, and the better of the two dual 2 gigahertz machines. We are tricked out a little bit more here in terms of PCI cards. There is, of course, the GeForce 6600. Disregard the first two entries. Those are for the Ethernet, which reads as part of the PCI bus, because they're on a PCI bus. Anyway, I do have a FireWire 800 card installed in this. I believe I mentioned that when we were looking inside the machine. And, of course, the eSATA. All right. Yep, full array of things. Let's see how quickly NeoOffice will open up for us. Or how slowly, being NeoOffice. Okay, we'll just type some nonsense. I'm typing away. Okay, so it took a couple of seconds to actually register, but as we might expect with this machine, much more functional. What else can we do here? I don't know there's that much more that we need to see. We can't open WebKit, which opens up YouTube. And we do seem to be signed into me. That's a good thing. Go to my channel.
Welcome, Brooklyn Thomas. I'm Lee, and I am...
We'll just pick a video at random here in this first row.
Graded the Quicksilver.
Okay. Part way in. Go to full screen. Check our resolution. Yep, we are at 720p. And it should load up pretty quickly.
Welcome back to Brother Electronics. I'm Lee, and it
Yep,
is...
there it is, and playing very well at 720p.
Video is going to feature
full screen.
PowerMac G4 HEP.
All right. Now, I think perhaps a more in-depth look, we might as well reserve that for the main G5 quad and see some of the greater differences there. All right. So, you want to have a look at that? Please stay. And finally, the crown jewel of my PowerPC collection, this mighty G5 quad. It's an amazing machine. I am so happy and honored that I own it. The icons here on the side, we've got the Leopard SSD. That is where, of course, the Leopard partition is located. That's partitioned, so there is data SSD as well. Tiger, as I mentioned earlier, the Tiger installation is on that internal FireWire drive. And that also is partitioned, so we've got plenty of data space on this machine. What you're not seeing here is the Linux partition. The Linux drive is not readable by either of the Mac OSs. However, when you do boot into Linux, you will find that you can read and use the files from the macOS Extended Journal formatted drives. And we also have this Mercury Elite AL Pro. That's a 2 terabyte backup drive. That's the Time Machine drive. And a 512 gig external eSATA drive. It's a handy enclosure. It's a standard 2.5 inch SATA SSD connected in an enclosure which can connect via eSATA, and it can connect to those computers that have it to USB 3. So it's a very versatile format for connecting to a variety of computers and transferring data. All right. We should look at cores at about this Mac. And here's our 4x2.5 GHz PowerPC G5, the 16 gigabytes of DDR2 SD-RAM. DDR2 was pretty new at this point, and while looking back at it, it seems pretty slow. It was so much faster than anything available before that. And 16 gigabytes was just an unheard of amount of RAM at that point. The PowerPC processors made much more efficient usage of the RAM than it seems that the Intel processors do. So 16 gigabytes is just an absolutely enormous amount. Most of these machines, when they first came out, did not have that RAM maxed out. I just tend to do that. All right, let's go into System Profiler. And we see here again, this is a 2 CPU machine, each of them dual core. Multiple core CPUs were a very, very new concept. Leopard did not understand that, so it simply reads those 4 cores as being 4 CPUs, which confused me at first, but there you go. ATA, Plextor BDR. This is a Blu-ray disc player, as well as being a DVD and CD burner. I have not yet used it as a Blu-ray player. I keep meaning to. One of these days I'll get a couple of Blu-ray discs just to see how it works. However, I do use it to read and write DVDs and CDs, and it works extremely well for that purpose. Looking at the FireWire. FireWire. Oh, On the Go Pro. Yeah, this is the internal drive that's got the Tiger partition on it. And unknown device, I don't know. Oh, well. Oh, you know, I bet that's the display, the cinema display connects to the FireWire 400 port and becomes a FireWire 400 hub. I bet that's it. Alright, now here's where it gets very cool. An NVIDIA Quadro FX 4500 with 512 megabytes of video RAM. As far as I have been able to discover, this is the most powerful graphics card that you can put in to a Power Mac G5. It has to be, of course, one of the late 2005 G5's because it is a PCIe card. And it's awesome. Okay, there's our memory, the PC cards, the 2 network cards. Those are the built-in Ethernet ports. There's the FireWire PCIe card. The Quadro, of course, is in there, and the AHCI controller. That is the eSATA card. All right. All right, airport card. Now, this machine does have airport. It's a little touchy. Sometimes I'll boot it up and the card isn't recognized. When I booted it up this time, I found that I had to open the machine up. I pushed on the antenna a little bit, and it seemed to connect again. But yeah, it doesn't. Not that it really matters. As far as your basic web browsing, YouTube watching, you know, the standard things, the airport card works fine. For any larger file downloads, though, it takes forever. So I do have it plugged in via Ethernet. But still, it's kind of cool that it's there. There is Bluetooth. Bluetooth 2, of course. But that leads us going into System Preferences. It is just so cool to me that this machine came not only with the wonderful machine, but with the Bluetooth mouse and keyboard that came with it originally. Actually, it had to be purchased separately. And this incredible 30-inch Apple Cinema display. All as a set. And looking in Bluetooth. It's funny. My phone is there. It's not connected right now. Hands-free gateway. Evidently, at least the machine thinks it can connect to my phone's Wi-Fi, wireless. I have no idea if it actually can or not, and there's no reason to really even try. But it's kind of cool that it was able to detect the phone and connect to it anyway. All right. Now, I mean, everything else. I've covered this kind of thing so much in the past. Basic productivity is all there. What more can you ask for? The iLife things all work. iTunes. I want. This is a machine on which I watch movies on iTunes. Pardon the motorcycle going by. But it is very, very cool. So much of this is going to be familiar. I suppose we should, before we wind this up, go into YouTube. It's open kind of slowly. I wonder if it's actually depending on the Wi-Fi. All right. Go to the channel. And let's just pick something at random. Go into full screen.
Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm
Little
Lee, and
little
thank you
laggy
so
at
much
first.
for stopping
Let
by
me
and spending
turn
your
that
time here today. Now, what I'm going to be focusing on
sound
today
down.
is
But yeah,
the 2010 Mac Pro.
just to check, it's a
Basically started
yeah. We are at
this
720p. It looks fine.
It
I'm
went places
really
I
very
never
happy with
dreamed
this.
it would go when I first
You can
started
see
that.
it's kind of letterboxed
And
there.
that machine is now
If we
operating
skip
well.
ahead,
The
not far enough ahead.
Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and thank
Okay,
you so
yeah.
much for stopping by and spending a little time here today. Now, what I'm going to be focusing on today is the 2010 Mac Pro. That basic
Trying to let it catch up with itself. I wanted to get into a point in the video
we
where
started this channel as a tech channel. It went
will it skip ahead now?
places I never dreamed it would go when I first started.
Nope, it just doesn't.
Everything
Oh, there we go.
looks
There we go.
fine on
It's
it.
finally skipped ahead, and this
We
is
had
a
some SSD
screenshot from my
left
Mac Pro.
indicator 90%.
You know, I think it actually
And that
looks
recently
very,
dropped down.
very
It was
good.
95, but
All
also when I
right.
first put it in, or first
Let's quit out of this. The system's amazing. I mean, there is just so much to it, and I have received so much joy from it, and I am so grateful to the woman who sold it to me and to her father who bought this machine in the first place, used it for many years. I would love to know what he used it for, because it was obviously the highest level professional workstation of the time, and took incredible care of the machine. So it is a great pleasure to own. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this retrospective look at my Power Mac G5's. It's an amazing machine. And kind of sad to think at how quickly, after it was introduced, that it basically died. I mean, it was a relevant machine for quite a number of years, but it could be now, if the software simply kept up with it. At least that's what I feel. Well, in any event, be good to other people. They deserve it. They need it. Be good to yourselves. That's where it all starts from. we can make this world a better place, but since it isn't, please take very, very good and careful care. All right, we'll be back to regularly scheduled videos coming up here. A lot of Mac Pro things. There'll be some more on the Power Mac G5. A lot of Power Mac G4 stuff coming up. And just generally a lot of things to look out for. So until those things are available on the channel, this has been Broken Electronics.